Hey guys, so today we're making some banana blondies. Please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let's get started with the recipe. So this was absolutely delicious, you guys. I found this recipe on Pinterest and it kind of reminded me of a gooey cake in some sort of way. So first I'm going to start by making the caramel sauce. And so this is a vegan recipe. And so I have some granulated sugar and some water that I'm just going to stir together, and I'm gonna let this come to a simmer, and make sure you stay by the stove so that you don't burn your caramel sauce. And so I'm adding in some unsweetened coconut milk, and I'll be sure to list the recipe in the description box below. I would say the hardest part about this recipe was making this caramel, and I don't know if it's because it's a plant-based recipe that it just didn't come together the way that I had hoped, or if I didn't, let it get to the correct temperature to thicken up. I don't know, but it turned out well in the end. It just wasn't as thick as I would have liked. And so I'm gonna come back to the caramel sauce. And so next I'm gonna make the batter for the blondies. And so I'm gonna mash up some bananas. And you want to make sure that your bananas are nice and ripe because they are the sweetest when they are ripe. And I'm just gonna mash that and put it to the side while we make some of our other ingredients. And so I have some brown sugar as well as some dairy-free butter that I am just going to mix together. And you want to do that just until it is combined. But this recipe was really delicious, you guys, and it was super simple. I'm just adding in the banana and I'm gonna mix that together. And then after that, I'm gonna make some baking powder with some distilled vinegar, and this is gonna act as our egg along with the banana. It's gonna act as our egg replacement. So I have some baking powder that I'm gonna mix with some vinegar, and this kind of helps as like a leavening agent to help our batter rise in the oven, or at least that's what I think it's supposed to be doing. um, and so I'm just gonna mix that together, and then I'm gonna add it to those other wet ingredients that we just mixed. And then I'm also gonna add in some vanilla extract. But surprisingly, even though this is considered like a banana blondie, the banana flavor wasn't overpowering. Like it was really balanced. And so next I'm going to add in some dairy-free chocolate chips. You can use whatever brand you like. They're all expensive. So but yeah, I'm just going to mix that in there, and then I'm going to add in some all-purpose flour, and I'm gonna mix that together. You don't want to over mix the batter, because plant-based dessert recipes can sometimes be a bit dense, but that wasn't the case with this. It was very again, it reminded me of like a ooey gooey butter cake situation. And so after that is mixed together, I'm gonna go back to my caramel because I needed to thicken up. And so I did add in a few extra ingredients in hopes of it thickening up. So I added in a little bit more of some coconut milk, and I just let it, simmer until it started to thicken up a bit. And this is what it looks like. And so I'm going to transfer it to a mason jar just so that it can cool down and thicken up some more. But it had really good flavor, you guys. And so now I'm just going to grease an 8x8 baking dish, and then we're going to add half of our blondie batter to the pan, and you want to kind of press it into the all around the bottom of the pan. And then you're going to add in your caramel sauce for the middle layer and spread that out, and then you're going to add the remainder of your batter on top of that and spread it out as best as you can. And then you're going to bake this in the oven, and I'll be sure to put that temperature in the description box below. But before you put it in the oven, top it with some powdered sugar because this is going to create kind of like a crispy topping. And so in the last 10 minutes of the baking, you're going to take it out and put some additional powdered sugar on top, and then bake it for an additional 10 minutes and let it cool on a cooling rack. And then it's going to look just like this, you guys. This was so flavorful, so delicious, ooey and gooey, and I would highly recommend this recipe. It's a perfect little snack, perfect dessert, and it's allergy friendly, especially if you have people in your life who have allergies. It was absolutely delicious. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Please make sure you like, share, comment, and subscribe. See you next time. Bye.